Mark Rogers TV talking up Mississippi State, and why not? The Bulldogs are 16th ranked in the college football playoff rankings, 7-2. That's 3-2 in the SEC following a win over UMass. Not very impressive in the first half, but they poured it on for an 11-point win, 34-23. We bring in Daniel Black. You can join him on For Whom the Cowbell Tolls. That's the Mississippi State platform on SB Nation. Daniel, how are you tonight?
I'm just fine, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. And so Mississippi State will give it a go at, I was about to say the number one team in the country, but technically number two, and they are number two. That's what the playoff rankings tell us. Most people would consider them to be the best team in the country, the most complete or dominant team in the country, a little bit banged up heading into this game. Let's start with, hey, your guy, Nick Fitzgerald, versus Nick Saban in a sense, because Nick Saban is the defensive guru, and has been for quite some time. So he's had trouble at times in his career dealing with athletic quarterbacks, dynamic quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson in that category the last two championship games. Don't want to elevate Fitzgerald to that class, but obviously he's going to bring some of the same skill set. So your thought about Fitzgerald going up against the Tide?
Well, you mentioned it. I mean, the last few quarterbacks that Alabama struggled with have been dual threat running passing quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson in last season and then Chad Kelly in 2015. Nick Fitzgerald's gone up. This is without a doubt the best defense Mississippi State will have faced. And even Dan Mullen said it, the most complete team in the country. Dan Mullen said in his press conference that we are excited to go up against the best team in the country. But this season, Nick Fitzgerald's gone up against two, in my opinion, elite, at least almost elite defenses in Georgia and Auburn, and he's gotten shellacked both times. We scored 3 points against Georgia and 10 points against Auburn. Now, both of those games were on the road. Being at home helps, and Nick Fitzgerald's really sort of come into his own the last 4 games. We're riding on a 4-game winning streak, dominant wins over Kentucky and BYU, a really good win over A&M on the road. He struggled against UMass, but the UMass, I guess, I hope at least it's one of those weird trap game sort of things, maybe looking ahead to Alabama, especially since a lot of teams have struggled with UMass this season, even in UMass's losses. But yeah, Nick Fitzgerald, dual threat guy. He's an incredible runner. I can't think of the exact number. I think he's either 4th or 5th now all time among SEC quarterbacks in rushing yards, and he's only a junior. He's still an inconsistent passer, but he's starting to improve on that. I mentioned really good performances against Kentucky, BYU, and A&M, and as a part of this 4-game winning streak we're riding. It's a good combination when you have the running and passing quarterback against Alabama. We mentioned the quarterbacks that Alabama has struggled against the last few years, as long as Nick Saban has been in Tuscaloosa. I think that Nick Fitzgerald provides us with the best shot possible for us to beat Alabama. It's obviously extremely difficult to beat Alabama, but I think Nick Fitzgerald gives us the best option possible if we want to pull off the upset on Saturday.